start on these grounds. You know, if you look at the ecological zones of Ghana, we usually would divide it into three. We have the southern zone, we have the transitional zone, and then we have the savanna zone. The transitional zone and the forest zone, we have two seasons, the major season and the minor season. This is the time for major season harvest for crops like maize, peanuts, cassava, yam, and what have you. So previously, this time around we call it back harvest because this is the time people would have been harvesting their major season maize and what have you. So around this time, previous years, harvest people to buy, prices are so low, where to dry the produce, we don't get any food. Today, and there's any crops of market. Price of maize previously, this around would have been around lower than 100 Ghana cedis. Today, you go to markets like Tichima, Ejula, Nkwanza, Kintampo, and you won't get a bag of maize less than 300 Ghana cedis. And we are in the winter season. Now, when you come to northern part of the country, we would have started harvesting in October and November. And this around, we already see the potential of the yield, looking at the cost. But I am still on the field. I'm not in it at the moment. Yesterday, I was visiting most of the farms and other things. I realized that, fine, the weather was quite good. People have produced, but the crops are looking yellowish. That suggests that we are not likely to get the expected harvest that we would have gotten. And this is because government couldn't supply fertilizer subsidy as we were promised. I happened to visit some few of the district department of agri directors. I don't want to mention names. And they told me that the fertilizer that came this year is far less than half of what came previously. You understand? Under the planting for food and jobs, the fertilizer subsidy under the planting for food and jobs is in two components, the NPK and then the urea. We use the NPK for the first application and then urea for top dressing. As we speak, I cannot boast that we have supplied 1% of urea for this season. Most farmers will actually get urea for top dressing. So if you put all these factors together, you shouldn't expect anything better in going forward.
I think, so if you say we shouldn't expect any better, exactly what do you mean? Are you saying that we will not get what we usually would have gotten? Because I heard you say that a bit earlier, that when you went to the farms, you saw the crops and were looking yellowish, which was an indication that this year it won't work out.
Yeah, sure. That's exactly what I'm saying. That as a farmer, we wouldn't expect, if your crops were looking green, and every indication shows that you get a bumper harvest. For instance, you have an acre, and then you are getting a maize average of 20 bags, and then it's looking yellowish. You are likely to get less than 10. So that's exactly the point I'm saying. So if you aggregate all that, it means that the total yields available in the market for this season is going to be far lower than what we are experiencing now.
And you said that is due to the issues with fertilizer and inputs.
Yes, fertilizer is one major factor. The weather, the rainfall is also another factor. The major among them is the fertilizer for northern Ghana. Because this year the weather, the rainfall is not too bad for northern part of the country. But when the time the fertilizer, the crops actually needed fertilizer, there was no fertilizer available. So because of that, fertilizer companies who would have supplied fertilizer under the planting for food and jobs, rather sells it at open market price. The NPK for most fertilizer, as at last month, was around 200 and 210 Ghana cedis per 50 kg, and in some place 230 Ghana cedis for 50 kg. For urea, you will not even get it back. So imagine a farmer doing 1 acre, and then you need about 4 bags, and then 1 bag costing 230 Ghana cedis. We are not talking about plowing, which was around 70, 80 cents last year. This year is 160 Ghana cedis. So if you put all these factors together, in fact, it has serious implications on the farmer and the total crop availability in the market. And that will also reflect on the cost that a consumer need to budget for food for this year.
I want to understand something. Well, open market prices, because Planting for Food and Jobs started, I think, some 3 or 4 years ago. Are you saying these inputs were as expensive then before Planting for Food and Jobs came in? On Planting for Food and Jobs has in a way affected the prices. I do not understand. So without Planting for Food and Jobs, is it difficult for the farmer to get the fertilizers to buy?
Okay, so what happened is that when government came in with the Planting for Food and Jobs in 2017, prices were subsidized 50%. The other 50%, government said the farmers, when they produce, they can pay in kind. You understand? They'll pay 25%, and then the other one they'll pay in kind. That didn't go well. The following year, government then took that out, and then we subsidize 50%. You go to the market and buy 50%. Then last year, the subsidy component reduced further. This year, when the government started, the subsidy was 38%. Along the line, government has to adjust the prices upward from 48 Ghana cedis for 25 kg to 53 Ghana cedis, bringing the subsidy further down to around 27%. What it means is that if government is saying that, okay, sell it at 53, and then maybe I'm asking you that the market price should be around 78. But according to the fertilizer company, when they bring the fertilizer to Ghana, before it gets to Ghana, the cost is more than 78 Ghana cedis. So they are thinking that the price government is taking for them is no good. That's one. Two, when they supply, government takes them more than a year to pay them the subsidy component. For instance, what was supplied in 2020 hasn't been paid as we speak. And we all heard the lie that the Minister of Finance told parliamentarians that 260 Ghana cedis was allocated for payment of another company so that they will supply some that fertilizer. As we speak, no peso has been paid to this company, and no any proper communication to them that you should expect this amount of money. So all those things actually inflated the fertilizer company, and they said, no, if that's the case, we cannot continue to sell on credit when people have great cash to buy in the market. So what happened is that when they even sell it at a higher price, the commercial farmers, they have the muscles to buy. But the smallholder farmers who constitute majority and supply over 80% of the commodities are those who will not be able to buy. So that is the situation at the field level.
So, but I know you do a lot of advocacy for the peasant farmers, and I think I don't have to repeat the situation a lot of peasant farmers find themselves in. So I'm guessing when this happened, you at least tried to reach out to see if something can be done to resolve the situation. Did you,
sure.
And what responses did you get from government?
In fact, government did some small interventions. I think they have mandated the fertilizer company to give some quantities to be given to prioritize for smallholder farmers and women. But that is woefully inadequate. And even with that, it's not all the companies that comply. We are still discussing with government. We have given some policy proposals that in going forward, we should be thinking of targeting the smallholder farmers and the women. So, for instance, we want government to admit that they have difficulties in financing the fertilizer subsidy on the Planting for Food and Jobs. So, if that happens, just like the PHHS, there are others who have the cash they can buy without subsidy. But for smallholder farmers and women farmers, we need to target those ones and give them the subsidy. And we are a union. So if you pass that through us, we will be able to deliver that to them. So we're thinking going forward, that's why we need to begin thinking about.
But for this year, it will not go well.
This year, for the look of things, the picture is not that too impressive. Because if last year things were better, and this is what we are experiencing now, what do you expect to happen in this year when things are not better this year?
So, having said that, what then do you make of the decision of government? They are saying that they are taking steps to ensure that food produced at our farm gates are not taken out of this country, especially by our neighbors. What do you make of those steps?
Yeah, so I think it's rather late, even though I commend that position. As we speak, we have sorghum in Burkina Faso. They have tightened their policies, and we have difficulties in bringing it to supply to our industries here. So if Burkina Faso are taking those steps, I think it just makes sense for us to also protect the small that we have. But my fear is that when we want to do that and our neighbors want to also retaliate, it might not look that good for us. If you travel to places like Doma, because I supply maize to poultry farmers, at the moment, most of them take their maize from Cote d'Ivoire. Ghana, we are getting about 80% of our vegetables like tomatoes from Burkina Faso. So imagine Burkina choose to close their borders completely. Cote d'Ivoire choose to close their borders completely. And the fact that our fields are not looking that good. If you don't take time, it may bounce back to us.
So it's an interdependent relationship. They take from us, we take from them.
Sure. So what we just need to do as a farmer, sincerely speaking, I do not subscribe to that. You know, when you go to the market, everything has increased. Even utility bills have increased, fuel has increased, buying anything has increased. So we, the farmers, also go to the same market. You take last 2 years, for instance, we produce so much rice. Ghanaian buyers and industries were not willing to pay a good price for us. Until last year, Nigerians came to the market and they offer price that is something that can cater for our production. You understand? So as a farmer, if Ghanaian buyers are not willing to give a price that we can also be able to go to the market to get something to cater for our cost of production, and then foreigners are coming in, we will welcome because we go to the same market. So if government want to do that, they should try to subsidize cost of production. If cost of production is low and we are able to increase our productivity, fine, and then you block the border and they even sell it at a lower price. We know that we can also cover our cost of production. But if government is not subsidizing cost of production and inputs, everything is going high, we also expect that when you produce, you should be able to increase the price so that you'll be able to compete in the market with people who are not farming.
So, for the farmer, this could mean not being able to get good prices for crops that you may have cultivated expensively this time around because you didn't get the subsidized fertilizers you were expecting.
Yeah, it may be the case or it may not. You know, if you take simple demand and supply theory, when demand is higher than supply, prices will surely go up. So for the look of things, the way things are, I'm not seeing supply to be higher than demand, even within the domestic market. So if that happens, even though the borders might close, the prices may still be high. You understand? So it is not the case that we are just producing in excess, that we say that if they close the border, it will have serious implications. Because sometimes they claim that good quantity of our goods go outside the country is something that we need to look at again. Because our evidence suggests that we also buy some commodities from our neighboring countries.
Well, thank you very much for speaking to us. But under the circumstances, you said as a farmer, this may not ultimately work in your favor. What do you propose should be done in the second? Because you said first, it's a good move by government for perhaps the average consumer, but for the farmer, it may not be the best move. So how should government balance this?
What government needs to do is to subsidize cost of production. For instance, I gave two dimensions. The major season has just ended for the southern part of the country, but they have started the minor season farming. So government need to quickly pay money that are owned to fertilizer companies so that they will make fertilizer available to the southern part of the country. Maybe they will be able to increase their production costs. They will be able to increase their productivity. Now, when it comes to buying, we are trying to have a price negotiation with buyers. We've been doing that every year for rice. So we negotiate, we put the cost of production and what have you, for them to see the sense that this year cost of production is gone up. So we need to also adjust the prices so that the farmers will be able to still remain competitive. That's one thing that we need to do. Now, if we want to also close the borders, I think we shouldn't take a unilateral decision. We need to discuss with our neighbors, Burkinabes, Togolese, and then the Avoyans, because this we are interdependent. So if we completely close our borders and they completely close us, it will hurt the farmers. For instance, if Ghana close their borders for tomatoes coming in, it will hurt the Ghanaian consumer and it will hurt the Burkinabe farmer because their market will not be able to consume all what is produced there. And tomatoes is a perishable commodity. You understand? So, and when you also take maize, it is unfortunate that we are not expecting, but in the years that we do increase our production, we have Malians and Nigerians also coming to buy. So if you close the borders, you will be helping the consumers there and helping the producers there. So to me, I see it as symbiotic relationship. So if you want to take any decision, it makes sense for the partners to just negotiate and agree on which commodity would they close their borders to, which one would they open for external trade, things like that.